well-adjusted people suffer from single personality order. And it's obviously in contrast to multiple personality disorder. And the thing is, um, that's an interesting thing right there, because there's some semantics in there. It's like the word universe. In one sense of the word universe, what it really is originally supposed to mean is, it's everything. So how could you have two of them? It doesn't make sense. But over time, it also came to mean like, the world where the physics that we've discovered apply. Like if there was another uh, space where the gravitational constant was different, that would be like another universe. Or if there's another place with some kind of photon that, quantum splits and it can't interact with us, but it's there, and we see just enough of it, like with some of these experiments, to see that it's there. And we don't know if it keeps existing, but we know that it seems to be there, and we don't see it cease existing. So we start to say that we barely can interact with it. It has a different gravitational constant. It makes sense to call that a whole nother universe. And you get terms like the multiverse. But of course you could still come and say, well, no, that is the universe. It just happens to be that the universe is split into these subspaces. And you might call, it one universe, and we're just in a subverse. You can go either way with the definitions. And it's the same kind of thing with personality. You need to think about how you want to characterize what it means to be a universe. Universe means everything, but hey, an atom means indivisible, and we figured out we could divide them, and we still said, well, let's call them atoms. We'll think of them as atoms. And, there's a sharp turn in etymology of a term. Now, with personality, it's a very similar thing. Obviously, you can say that it's one person, and even if it's bipolar and it's up and down, that is a personality. But with multiple personality disorder, we start to recognize that, well, no, it's possible to have more than one personality in one brain. To a degree, they're all related, but it really is possible. And I think it's actually unavoidable. We all have multiple personalities. In a healthy person, these personalities simply have certain rules. First of all, they all go by the same name and take credit for the same person's body. And they also take responsibility for each other's actions. Okay. And to a certain degree, the reason I was going to cast this as a malady is because we ignore that they're different personalities vocally, in terms of shared conscious expression. But most people do realize that they're different personalities. They realize when I'm angry, I act this way. When I'm blissed out, I act this way. A certain situation gives you a certain mood. These moods are personalities of their own. And it's like, when you see a certain situation, you'll have associated a mood with it. A certain situation will make you angry. That same situation could make you curious. Can make you curious. Like a crime scene. I see a crime scene, I'm most likely to have, anger or sadness or something like this. A detective may have those things, or they may not even have those, because those might get in the way of what they really, have, which is curiosity. In certain contexts, how could you not be angry and sad? But in another context, it's like, I'm really glad there's somebody that has curiosity as their reaction, because that's the person that's going to be able to stomach finding out what the hell happened. Okay. So I believe we have these multiple personalities, and basically each one is a mood. And it's like anger, but it's not some pure personification of just anger. No, it's more like the personality you have when you're angry. Like I'm fairly reasonable when I'm angry, in the sense that I keep remembering, wait, be reasonable. Wait, don't go overboard. Wait, remember that anger sometimes has you, it recapitulates or whatever. Anger leads to anger. So, other people just let the anger lead to anger, whatever. So it's a complex where it's really a personality. One part is that you could characterize it by how much anger. There's really a personality associated with recognizing a situation. Okay, so the situation brings sort of a recipe that is a personality that's distinct from these other personalities. And so when we share our body with these other personalities, it becomes insane to emphasize that we're different. Like, we all have to take responsibility. It's a question of will. We are sharing our mind with other wills, and what is ethical and sane about that? I mean, well, we have chosen to just pretend that's not even going on, because that sounds crazy. But the fact is, we really are a community of wills, a community of personalities, and the role of the conscious. I don't think the conscious has most of the will or all of the will, but the role of the conscious is that I believe we're the one that has assigned a particular mood set to a particular situation. If you want to change how you behave, you can picture the situation where you get the mood that leads to actions that you don't approve of, your own actions that you don't approve of. You can visualize that situation and keep projecting in, imagining a different mood for it. Like instead of anger, imagine compassion or stoic patience, or you can create new personalities, but it's an art form you might not do well, who knows, so I'm not saying it automatically works, but if you picture these situations and project in a new emotional reactions, you can change how you would react. And it's a chain reaction too, because if you choose anger, then you're in a new situation where the anger is a part of the atmosphere, and you're likely to choose anger again. Anger leads to anger. Whereas, like I said, you can program it so that when you think of the situation of you're being angry, picture your reasonable, calm side. Just, I'm above it all. Picture that side, even if it seems like a joke. Like, who would be that way if that's what you needed to do? And you'll eventually be able to change the chain reaction. And I think that's our role of our conscious will, that we get to edit these little things for the next time. We can visualize something, bring it up, and then visualize a mood and just sort of arbitrarily attach them. And that's why visualization works. And I think it's very important to think of ourselves as a collection of souls, because there's another ramification, is that I think we have, in our mind, there's a lot of different ways, just like social organizations, different kinds of government. And the however you organize your wills in your mind will affect how you organize your social system. See, I don't think a lot of us are using democracies in our mind. I think we think that would be crazy. We're not really thinking about the happiness and health of our individual personalities. So we have to think of the life of these moods, and often we get confused and think just about how the body's doing, and that's where we get the materialist in the bad sense, because we don't really have a hold of the needs of the different personalities. But to see, once you look at these different personalities, these different moods and ways of reacting in a situation as different personalities, what you can also do is then your personality is the series of, okay, you went from anger to reasonableness to love to acceptance to, okay. But for each of those things, like anger, you also have anger, and then the next time you're angry. And let's say if you just took all the moments where you had your angry personality deciding for you, and you put those in a line too. So in reality, there's other moods in between, but I'm just saying, out of all of your moods, you take anger, take all the anger, and stack that up. It's as if your angry personality has its own history, its own memories. And it's really, really good to study those life stories. Study the life story of your anger. Study the life story of your love. Study the life story of your sense of inquiry, and of your stoic resolve, and of your, blissed out happiness. And, study those and what results they had, in isolation, as if they had their own lives. And really try to get all of those personalities so that they're satisfied. And, one of the problems is when you have one of these personalities that really is designed not to be satisfied. For example, like a greedy personality. It is designed to never be satisfied. So that one, you need to do some serious refactoring and break it down. Break that personality down into pieces and see which pieces are redeemable. Okay, greed. You just want your own comfort. Wanting your own comfort's fine, so save that part, and you reconstruct your greed, because you can't just kill these things off. They're parts of you. They're living inside of you. So, sometimes you have to be clever, but some of them do, in a sense, need to be radically changed. You can't really think. See, a lot of times we cage them. It's like we just say, no, we have an inner right, no, I'll just put it in a cage. Put it in a cage if you have to, right? Put it in a cage for in the here and now. If you have that urge, put it in a cage. But basically, that's eventually any urge will break out of any cage, or some other feeling of yours will have a sympathetic reason to like that negative personality, and it'll let it out. You'll give it the key and it'll sneak in and out or something. So basically, you can't even cage the bad urges. You have to break them back down into things that aren't bad. You have to take the part of greed okay, well, I just like my own comfort, and then make it more reasonable and turn it from greed into, progress, where, yeah, we're all going to get more comfortable, and that's not greedy. So usually, though, even something like anger, you do not need to erase or get rid of. The real search is to put the right emotion with the right situation. You want to visualize a situation and recognize a situation and visualize an appropriate reaction. And you can't just oh, I like being happy, so I'll put happiness with everything. That does not work. Right emotion, the right situation.